I think I'm one of those guys that I either do it or I don't. If that makes sense. There's no sort of half measures. So.
Welcome to Meet the Owner, where we're all about making an impact through entrepreneurship. Today, I have the great privilege of having Ashley Latter with me. Ashley runs an ethical sales and communication program, which has had tens of thousands of delegates in the dental industry. He's run programs worldwide in Canada, USA, India, Australia, all over Europe. Ashley's written 3 books, including Don't Wait for the Tooth Fairy and You Are Worth It. He's also contributed to the Dental Masters series. In 2015, Ashley was voted number 12 in the top 50 most important people in UK dentistry. Ashley has now delivered over 26,000 hours of business coaching to the dental industry. Ashley, thank you so much, firstly, for coming on today.
No problem at all. Good to be here. Thank you.
Amazing, because obviously you've made such an impact in this industry and in what you do. How did you actually end up doing what you do now?
Mainly, I was teaching a sales training course about 25 years ago. And there was, I don't know, maybe 18, 19 delegates, but there were 2 dentists on the program. And I was sort of racking my brains why 2 dentists were taking a sales training course with me. So I got to meet them. I got to meet them the night before, and they were telling me that they were clinically great dentists. They could place implants, veneers, crowns, do all the dentistry, but what they couldn't do was sell it, or what they couldn't do was communicate it. And they were shocking at discussing fees. So often they would reduce the fee in their heads. So if the fee started out at, I don't know, £500, by the time it came out of the mouth, it was £450, and they would reduce the fee in the head. Anyway, to cut a long story short, they took the course, and as they left, I was just curious to see how they found it and how they got on. And I said I'd give them a call just to see how things went. And a few weeks later, I'm lying on my couch at home thinking, I wonder how those 2 dentists got on with the course. Should I ring them? Should I not? And I decided to make the phone call, and I'm sort of glad I did, because both of them told me that their treatment plan acceptance had increased. More patients were saying yes to their treatment plans. They weren't discounting like they used to. But the main thing they told me was, for the first time ever, they were delivering the dentistry they loved to do and their patients wanted. And that was the key message, that their patients wanted this treatment. So they told their mates, and about 6 months later, I delivered my first ever, we called it the ethical sales and communication course. It was a 2-day program, and we had about 26, 27 dentists on. And great 2 days. I rang all these dentists up a few weeks later, and they all said the same, that treatment plan acceptance had increased. More patients were saying yes, but the main thing was they were delivering the dentistry they loved to do and their patients wanted. And the rest is history, really. So really, from 2 dentists, following up with them, keeping in touch, 24, 25 years later, now, as you've rightly said, delivered this 2-day program now to well over 20,000 delegates, and gone around the world delivering the courses, and have a training centre here in Manchester. We have 10 different courses that we deliver. I have 3 different instructors, and all started mainly from just 2 dentists taking a sales training course with me many years ago, and just keeping in touch and networking like mad. That's what I've done during that time.
Yeah.
And it's been very fruitful.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. And I'm gonna just take you back a bit before we even go into like some of the work that you've done. I mean, is sales something that you've always wanted to do, or what did you want to do? Let's say when you were 10 years old, what was the thing that you were like, this is what I want to do?
When I was 10 years old, I wanted to be a centre forward for Man United. Like probably most kids born in Manchester. But obviously I was never good enough to be that. I've no idea what I wanted to do at 10. Like I said, probably play for United. But I got into sales basically when I was 16. I left school and went to college, and I got a job selling ladies' coats on Great Homer Street Market in Liverpool. So every Saturday I used to leave Manchester, get picked up, and I used to sell ladies' coats. And I did that for about the best part of 3 years while I was at college. And then I got a job at Swinton Insurance selling insurance. So yeah, I haven't got a degree. I've got 3 O levels to my name, but I've always been a sales and marketing man, and I have a massive passion for those two subjects. And I even today, you know, I probably spend an hour a day reading and watching programs and learning new tricks just to enable me to sell and market my courses better. So yeah, it's a lifelong passion of mine, and it's a hobby. I really enjoy it. Yeah.
Okay. Because one thing that I read about you was you went on you were delivering at one point. Is it Andrew Carnegie course?
Dale Carnegie.
Dale Carnegie.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Sorry. And is there anything particular? Because obviously I've read a little bit about Dale Carnegie as well. Is there anything particularly that attracted you to him or his course in particular? Or
yeah, great question. I was it was I'm going back now 29 years ago. I used to work for a finance company, and I used to live in a small block of terraced houses in North Manchester. But at the back of our building there was a Mercedes garage, and every so often, maybe once or twice a week, there used to be, I don't know, maybe 40, 50 cars outside this building. And I was always intrigued about what was going on in that building. And the main problem was I could never get my car at the back of my house because they blocked the entrance to my house. So one day I went in and discovered that they were running training courses there. Went to an open evening, and I signed up to a Dale Carnegie course. And it was a 12-week, it was like a public speaking program. So it was about developing leadership, self-confidence, and your public speaking skills. So it's a 12-week course. I absolutely loved it. It was one of those things that changed my life, really. I was lacking in self-confidence, and I was lacking in belief in myself. And I came back and helped out as a team leader, and eventually ended up joining the organisation and selling their training courses in Trafford Park and Salford. That was my area. On commission only. So I left a very, very well-paid finance job working for a finance company, and then the next minute I'm selling Dale Carnegie training courses, American training courses in Trafford Park at the height of a recession in 1992, I think it was, or 93. And that's what I did, knocking on doors, making appointments, selling courses on commission only. And the first year, I think I earned about £6,000. The previous job, I was earning about 4 times that. So it was a big difference in my career. But after year one, it got a little bit easier, and my career took off from there. Yeah.
Okay, because obviously you mentioned that obviously it really helped you and it helped with your confidence and stuff. Can you just shed a bit more light on that? The fact that, you know, it actually ended up making you leave this really well-paid job to actually go and start working for much less than commission only.
Well, I was working for a finance company, and I didn't, to be honest with you, I didn't like the job at all. I was going into work and just couldn't wait till 5 o'clock came so I could go home, really, or 12 o'clock when I could go to the gym. So, I always wanted to get back into sales or have a sales career. So I took the course, and one thing it gave me was confidence. And because every single week you had to stand up and speak to groups. And if you do research, the man's biggest fear is actually speaking in public. People rather, it's man's biggest fear. So if you could speak in public, there's a lot of other things that you could do really well. And I got very, very friendly with one of the sales guys that worked for Carnegie, and I could see the difference it not only made to me, but it made an impact on other people's lives. I could see that in the group that I work with. And I kept in touch with this guy, Andy, and he really impressed me. He drove a Porsche, he looked smart, and I thought, God, I'd love to have what he's got. And he was one of the salesmen that was selling the courses. And that's really keeping in touch with him and seeing the impact that the Dale Carnegie courses had on people. And I just thought, you know, I'd really would love to be involved in this and eventually teach the courses, which is what I did after about 3 years of selling them. I ended up becoming a 4-course instructor and actually delivering the courses. But that was really what got me into it. I became a junkie on personal development, and I could see the impact it had on people's lives. And it had an impact on mine. And that was probably the main reason why I decided just to change career completely and do something completely different. And like I said, it was a really bad recession at the time. The property market crashed. And this was the only sales job I actually could get. It was on commission only. And I just thought, you know what, let's give it a go. Because I was still pretty young in my life. I wasn't married or had any commitments. I had a mortgage, small mortgage and a house. But I just thought, you know, if I could sell 8 courses a month, I would survive. And that was my goal. So every month I could try and sell 8, and I didn't. My first year, I think I was doing 3 or 4 months. But then, you know, like I said, it got a bit easier year 2, year 3, and I had 8 years there at Carnegie. I ended up becoming the #1 UK salesman for about 7 out of those 8 years, and ended up becoming a sales instructor, and I ended up becoming a master trainer. So I went around the world training trainers to become trainers. So I had a really good, successful background, a great career with them. But the main reason why I left my job was I could see the impact that these courses were having on people. And I wanted to either sell them or deliver them or do both, because I could see the impact I could have on people. And that's what's got me out of bed every day, really. Yeah, since.
Yeah, because one thing that I can see there is a pattern where, you know, when you work with Carnegie's company or that sort of thing, where you could see there was a problem and there was a problem that was being solved. And then when also you talked about the dentist, these 2 dentists came to your course, you could see a real problem that they had.
Yeah.
And you found a way to be able to solve that, which has then, you know, led to all the various different things. And so just very quickly, going back to confidence. Now, I know one of the biggest things that people struggle with is confidence. Even I bet with all the dentists that you meet, one of the biggest issues that people have is confidence. So from what you experienced there and just what you've experienced over the years, what are, like, let's say, even about maybe 1 or 2 or 3 practical tips that you would give to people about becoming more confident?
Sure. Good question. I think there was somebody once told me a story, and it was a consultant in the insurance world many years ago, back in the 30s, I think. And he did, it was called Albert E. Gray, and he did some research on why some people were more successful than others. And I can't remember the full story. I should maybe Google it, and you can. But he did many years of research, and the research cost many thousands of dollars to do. But when he finally came up with the answer, what successful people do, I think the quote was that successful people do the things that unsuccessful people don't like to do. And I think that's probably the best tip I can do is do the tasks or the jobs that you don't really want to do, but if you do them, you'll know it will make you a little bit more successful. So, for example, here I've got a list of people I need to speak to at lunchtime today between 1 and 2, because that's the only time you can get through to speak to dentists. Now, I know, 2 or 3 of these calls are slightly challenging. I'm following up with them on some information we've sent out to them. And somebody might say no to me probably today, but I'm putting myself in a position for somebody to say no. And I think what a lot of people do is they don't put themselves in a position where they're going to get a no. And I think that's what successful entrepreneur people do, is they do things that unsuccessful people don't want to do. You know, I always think to myself, for example, I will spend a whole week delivering courses in London. So I would do 5 full days, and often I do a couple of evenings as well. So it's a mad week. And I'm on a train on a Sunday night going back from Manchester down to London. And sometimes I've got the carriage to myself, you know, there may be only 3 or 4 people on it. And I always think to myself, the reason why I'm successful is because I'm the only person on this carriage. There's no one else on here with me. Or if there are, they're going back because I've had a social weekend, but there's nobody there on business. So it's to grow your confidence, it's to do something that is uncomfortable. And if you start doing them and just do it, then it becomes comfortable, if that makes sense. So another great example was, one of the best examples I can think of is a dentist who I'm coaching. He was on my entrepreneur group. And he was a great implantologist. And he would get referrals from about 4 or 5 dentists. And I suggested it to him that he should do an open evening, and I would help him and, you know, invite a load of dentists from his area. And we can get them in a restaurant, and, you know, I'll do a talk and you do a talk, and we'll get a crowd, and hopefully you'll build up some more referring dentists. Now, he thought it was a great idea, and he was putting it off for years and years. And the main reason why I was putting it off is because he just didn't like public speaking. And yet this guy was very enthusiastic. He was a great dentist, very, you know, he had a great personality. And I said, you should do it. Anyway, eventually I forced him to do it. You know, I helped with his practice manager. We booked a night. And he did this presentation. He spent hours on it. I did a presentation. It was in a great restaurant. And he must have picked up half a dozen new referring dentists that evening. Well, that presentation, over 10 years, if those six referring dentists refer just 1 case a month to him, you know, potentially could be worth at least £250,000 a year, easily, by just standing up and doing a presentation. And yet for years he'd put it off. So that presentation that evening could be worth several £1,000,000 over the lifetime of his career. So to answer your question, I think the best way of developing self-confidence is to do the things that you really don't want to do, but you know if you do them, they'll bring you closer to becoming more successful. And that's the best tip I can get you to grow confidence. No, that's absolutely amazing. And like you talked about as well, the fear of public speaking, something that I really struggled with. I actually joined the Toastmasters Club to just try and really develop that and try and get better. And it actually makes a huge difference. Actually stepping out when, you know, you feel like, sometimes you might feel like, oh, I might not be able to, oh, what are they going to say? What are they going to think? But still doing it anyway, you know, it does, you know, make a huge difference. And actually, you've gone into an industry, dentistry, obviously, and obviously from even what I know, you know, of dentistry, it can be a difficult industry to get into, and mainly rightly so because a lot of dentists have been burnt from, you know, whether it's salespeople, marketers, and all of these different people. Now, how have you been able to be able to go in and win their trust and become almost one of the biggest stars in dentistry, even if you don't have a medical background or anything, or a dentistry background in that sense? How has that been? How have I been able to do it? Wow, good question. It's just a lot of hard graft, a lot of hard work, but it's about, I think the thing I still do today is when we start a course, we've got 30 people on a program, for example. We've got a 2-day program. I will, in the first hour, get them to write down what's their biggest challenge in terms of communicating, in terms of selling their ideas, in terms of the biggest challenge they face. And I get them to write it on the board, and I get them to verbalize it. That's the big thing, is get them to verbalize it and get them to share real examples, get them on a flip chart, and then making sure that during that 2 days, we ensure that we make progress and that they feel more comfortable and confident about doing what they find challenging. So it's enabled them to develop those skills. So when they leave my program, they're able not only to have the skills, but have the confidence to perform better and get better results back in the workplace, back in their practice. And the main thing then is to follow up with them to ensure that they got those results. And that's what we do. So every course that we deliver, I always give them a mobile number. They can ring me whenever they want, but also we will follow up with them. So just before your course today, we had a follow-up coaching call, lasted 45 minutes. We had about 12 dentists on it, and I'm there for them, and we follow up. And I think that's the key thing that has really put me in good stead is finding out what problems they have, getting developing courses and solutions for them, delivering that for them, but also making sure that you follow up with them to make sure that they got the results that they are looking for. And I think that's what we do really well, is that we follow up. And I don't think many people do. Many people go on courses and no one really follows up, and we do. And I think that makes the real big difference. And it builds trust, it builds relationships with people. People then want to come back on more courses with you and then refer their friends as well. And that's probably what I've done really well. I haven't got, as you've rightly said, I'm not a dentist, but what I have been able to do is develop relationships with people. I mean, the very, very first dentist that took my course, a guy called Neil Sampson, we're still friends today. We still speak at least once a month. We still socialize, him and his wife, when we can, hopefully when we come out of this COVID thing. And I have relationships now that have lasted 20, 25 years plus. So that's the main thing, is really is finding out what the problems are, developing solutions, making sure that we do solve their problems, and then following up with them to make sure that what should be happening actually is happening and that you're there for them. And I think we've done that really, really well.
Incredible. Amazing. And obviously you talked about at the start of the course, you normally get them to write down what what problem they're trying to solve. What have you found comes up the most in terms of like the problem that they may have?
There's probably about 4 or 5. These are in no particular order. But dentists are like engineers. They are very technical people. So the first thing they do is they tend to talk very technical to the patient. The best example I can give you is if I'm a travel agent and I'm sitting down with you and I want to find out your ideal holiday, and you tell me you want the 5 S's, you want a beach, you want sun, sea, sand, sangria, and sun cream. So I find out what your destination is. But if I then speak to you about the aeroplane for 20 minutes, you won't be interested. Yeah. And that's what a lot of dentists do. They love talking about aeroplanes and not what the destination is. So the big challenge they have is that they tend to talk too technical. The second thing that they do is and I'm generalizing, not everyone is like this, but they're not particularly good at discussing fees. And some of them seriously undercharge for their services. And a lot of people reduce the fee in their head. So if the fee is, say, £500, by the time it comes out, it's 400. So they are not particularly good at discussing fees. And the third thing again, I'm generalizing, they're not particularly good at is that they sell far too quickly. So they don't spend enough time building relationships and asking questions. And they tend, the patient might say they're interested in X, and then they just jump straight in and start selling without really truly finding out what the patient's wants and needs are and why they want it. So if you were to ask me the biggest 3 challenges they have, they would be the top 3. And the other thing is that they're not particularly very good at closing. So they often will give patients treatment plans and say, you need to go home and think about it. So they're not particularly good at that either. So the best thing about getting your clients to share this on a course is that a dentist will come on the course and they think they're the only one that's got the problem. But actually, once they share it, they realize that the other 29 delegates have the same challenges as them. It's actually quite satisfying that they're not on their own. And that's what makes the courses really, really special, because you know, they realize that they're not on their own. Everyone else has the same challenges as them, and it's comforting, a bit like therapy, to be honest. The first 2 hours are a bit like therapy, and then we can really get stuck into the material, and that's the main reason why I think we've managed to do really well on our courses and develop this niche.
Yeah, and do you think that's probably one of the biggest reasons why you've kind of stuck to actually still doing in-class kind of type courses at your training center? Because obviously a lot of people now do courses, they just create a course and put it online and then everyone buys it for a certain price and that sort of thing. Would you say it's that kind of togetherness, that kind of, you know?
Yeah, I mean, listen, when the pandemic first came last year, you know, like anyone, I was really scared and frightened, because we probably had, you know, a whole year's of courses that we had to, certainly for the first 3 or 4 months, postpone and move on. But so what we did was we went online, we started delivering programs online, and I ended up, you know, from, I don't know, middle of April onwards, right through to the rest of the year, the next 7-8 months, I probably delivered close on easily 100 online webinars and sessions, easily. I was, in some occasions, I was doing 3 or 4 a day, you know, back to back 2-hour sessions. It was hard work, but we adapted and we took all our courses online. But I delivered another one last night. But I do get the feeling, or I do get a sense that once everyone's had the jab and that we're hopefully get back to normal, I think the classroom will become more vibrant. I think people really want to mix, and I think people want to socialize and get back into a room again. So I'm hoping that's what will happen. And I think the second half of this year, anyway, I think will be quite busy for us.
Yeah, definitely. And I do, like, I personally prefer doing training courses with people. I would rather do that much rather than sitting in, you know, in front of a computer, you know, watching the guy do the thing, you know.
I think you need to have discipline. I haven't really got great discipline. You know, I find it hard to sit in front of a computer to learn, to be honest, because I'm fidgeting and I'm doing other things. I tell you what, I am pretty good at. I can listen to it when I'm walking the dog or doing exercise or something like that. I'm pretty good at doing it that way, and I feel like I'm sort of killing 2 birds with 1 stone. But I feel like I do find it a challenge, and I do prefer to be in a room with. I'm a sociable person, so I prefer to do that. And I think it will. I think it will come back. I think people are desperate to, you know, I'm desperate myself to go out socializing, meeting people again. And I think people are that. And I'm hoping certainly the second half of the year, we will be bombed out. I could see it already. I sense that people are already booking on courses with us. So I've got a sneaky feeling that people do want to get back into a classroom. And I think, you know, I think there will be a place for online. And I think Zoom it's been great for us. And I think there still will be a place for that. But I do sense that people do really want to get back into a room again.
Yeah. No, definitely. And talking about the kind of person that you are, right? So obviously you're an entrepreneur, you know, and obviously you work with all of these dentists, and you've got certain skills that have helped you, you know, in entrepreneurship. And also these dentists that you work with, surely they need some skills. Do you think that some people are just inherently, they're just born with certain abilities that give them more affinity towards becoming an entrepreneur, selling and doing business, you know, and that sort of thing?
100% no. I mean, I know people always say you're either born in this or you're not, and I absolutely disagree with it. And I've got thousands of success stories to prove it. You know, if you're an entrepreneur, I mean, this is going out to entrepreneurs. The greatest skill you can develop is sales and marketing skills, without a shadow of a doubt. And you know, you talked about people develop the course. I know a lot of people will develop a course, they'll spend hours and hours and hours on it, and they'll put it up, and hopefully somebody will buy it, but they haven't got a clue how to sell or market it. So the best thing to do first is to find a course, get the idea, sell and market it, get people signed onto it, and then develop the course. That's what you should be doing first. But a lot of people do it the other way around. So I really and I have, well, when you were able to have discussions with my friends in pubs and restaurants, but I strongly believe that if I look at my success, it's because I've spent thousands and thousands of pounds, I mean, thousands of hours learning the art of sales and marketing, learning how to sell what I do, learning how to teach that, and also learning how to market my courses. Because if you can't market them, you can't deliver them. So I've never been past a hospital which says born salesperson, born today, weighing £6 7 ounces. You know, it's never going to happen. There's never going to be that sign over a hospital. You know, and I have clients. One of my clients, he's the leading implantologist in the UK. His practice places more implants than any other in the United Kingdom. Wow. Well, he's done my ethical sales and communication camps. Now, he's done it a dozen times. Wow. Every year he comes back on my programs, and he now helps me teach it. Because he's teaching it, his skill levels goes to another level. So, and he's only that successful because his commitment to developing the sales and marketing, and that's what makes you successful. You can have all the clinical skills in any industry, you can have all the skills of doing what you do, but unless you can sell and market yourself, then you know you'll never really be truly successful. So now I'm a strong believer that, you know, if you really truly want to become successful, you've got to, you know, it's developing sales and marketing, in my opinion, anyway.
Yeah, and that would be probably very encouraging to, especially a lot of probably people that you work with, dentists, who, because you meet a lot of people who are very technical, and they just seem to think, well, I'm very technical, I'm about doing the job and doing the thing, I'm not really good at selling and stuff like that. But that, you know, clearly from, you know, things that you've done and people that you work with, there is hope in a sense that people can learn and they can grow their skills in a certain way. And obviously you talk about sales and marketing, and obviously a lot of people talk about sales and marketing. Can you just kind of, just very quickly, how would you differentiate sales and marketing? Do you think that, are they two different things, or are they things that you feel just go hand in hand with each other, sort of thing?
Well, it's a great question, and here's the very, I'm a simple guy. I'm born in Salford. I've only got 3 O-levels, so I like things really easy. But marketing is everything that you do to make the telephone ring, or anything you do to get people to contact you and to put the hand up. And then the selling bit is when you pick the telephone up, answer their call, and deal with their inquiry, and that's it. So that's the distinction between the two. So the marketing is everything you do to get the right type of client to put their hand up. And when I say the right type, the person who's genuinely interested in your products or services, who has a need and who has a capacity to spend money with you, has a budget to do that, or will find the budget to do that. So that's the marketing, is getting the right type of client to put their hand up. And once they put their hand up, the selling bit is when you are in the communication. So if they ring you up by phone or they contact you by email, then the selling bit is then the conversation you have either by communicating or by the email, preferably communicated, because that's really the best way how to win business and to solve problems. So that's my the difference between the two.
Okay. And what do you think at the moment would you say are some of the most effective ways, let's say, dentists can, you know, can market themselves?
For dentists to market themselves, the best way for dentists or for me?
Yeah, for dentists, what would you say for dentists? What do you think are some of the best, most effective ways at the moment?
Well, the thing I would say to a dentist is don't rely on one form of marketing. You know, have several different um, things that you're going to do, because marketing really is about making a noise. And what you've got to do is several different aspects of marketing. So you just can't rely on one, because if you rely on one of anything, that's a dangerous situation to be in. So if you're a dental practice and you want to increase your patient base of the right type of patients, you have to do several things. So you have to be giving world-class customer service to your patients, make it so it's different experience. Do something that they will get them talking about you to their friends. That's whatever you do that's different. Do something that they wouldn't expect, so that they can go and talk to friends and talk about you. You've got to then ask those people for referrals. So hand out referral cards to them and saying, look, you know, if you know any friends or any relatives, aunts, uncles, you know, here's my card, we'd love to treat them. You've got to, you know, if you're my patient and you've had a great experience, maybe we've straightened your teeth, maybe you've whitened, and then I want to take some photographs. I want to put them in a before and after book so I can show other patients. I want to put those pictures on Facebook or Instagram. You know, I want to put those pictures there. I then want to get a video testimonial from you and, you know, do a little recording on an iPhone, and then I can put that out on my YouTube channel. I can put that out on marketing as on Facebook and Instagram as well. And then maybe at the same time I want to write a newsletter that goes out to my patients once a month, maybe either physical or an email, which, you know, shares tips and general health tips, so that they're hearing from me. So you can't really rely on one, Chiko. You've really got to have many different ways of marketing. You know, if you look at my business, we probably use about 20 different ways of marketing our business, from exhibitions to public speaking to all the social media platforms to a newsletter. My newsletter, I started writing a newsletter to dentists when I only had 2 clients. So my first newsletter went to 2 dentists, and I said to them, please pass it on. And now we've got well over 15,000 on our list now that get my newsletter. So you've got to do a combination, and that's for everybody. If you think about a chair, the chair stays up because it has 4 legs. If you take a couple of legs away, the chair falls down. And that's the problem, I think, with lots of businesses. They don't do enough marketing. And I think you've got to have lots of different aspects of marketing. Yeah, I always think about other industries. I think about the local restaurants in my village. You know, there's about, I don't know, I bet there's about 8 to 10 restaurants within a 1 mile radius of where I live, probably even more. But I've not had one of them send me during the pandemic, send me a flyer to say we're doing takeaways. Not one of them has contacted me by email, or, you know, these I frequently eat at these restaurants. No, I've never seen a Facebook post which says they do that. Not one of them has got a banner outside their restaurant saying we're doing takeaway pizzas, and so no one does it, you know. And some of these places probably won't reopen. And if they had a list of people, if they took my email address, if they kept in touch with me on social media, if they did a mail shop, if they had a big banner outside saying, you know, we're doing takeaways, come in, I'm certain they would do really well, you know, because people are looking for alternatives at the moment. Yeah, but not one of them's done that, you know. So it's really about, I'm probably harping on here, but it's really about making a noise, and as much noise as you possibly can by using many different methods. And that's what I have done, and I still do every single day. So every single day I come in, you know, I'm office space now for 3 months, but I'll do something every day to generate business, to make a noise. And that's what we do every single day. I come in, make a noise, and hopefully people put their hands up and want to give me more money. And that's probably why, you know, we've lasted 28 years.
Yeah, exactly. And what message would you give to, even let's say your target audience, which is dentists? What message would you give them during this pandemic as well, about just generally them surviving this time and just, you know, managing to cope and get through to the other side, really?
The same, you know, make a noise, be open. It sounds weird, but I mean, the amount of times we ring dental practices up between 1 and 2 and you get an answer machine. And you just think, why? It's the most popular time to be open between 1 and 2. It's like a chip shop being closed for lunch. You know, be open, because that's when people want to speak to you. Work different hours, you know, work at weekends, be open at weekends, be there when people want to come in now. So it's just about being different, looking at what other practices are doing, and just think, okay, well, what can we do that's not the norm that will make us successful? So the first thing that we did, when the pandemic, when the first lockdown finished, is we did 2 back-to-back Saturday and Sunday courses, because we knew dentists would be working flat out Monday to Friday. So we decided to do our courses Saturday and Sunday. Now, you know, we've never done Saturday and Sunday courses before, but they were extremely popular. We had 20 odd dentists on each program who were there on a Sunday learning these skills. But we decided to do it because we thought, well, if we do that, then and dentists loved it, because they came on our courses at weekends and it allowed them to do dentistry during the week. And they've found that. So it's just really, you know, looking at the norms and being different, and thinking to yourself, okay, what's the industry norm, and what can we do that's different to be successful? And I've got some clients now who are open Saturday and Sunday, and they do shifts. They all work odd hours, but they are absolutely killing it. Absolutely killing it. And there's other practices will be closed.
Yeah, that's absolutely incredible. And you obviously, Ashley, you seem very, very driven, and it's evident when you speak to other people, the way other people speak of you, speak very well of you. You've got an absolutely great reputation within dentistry, and just in general. And what would you say drives you? And I'm going to be rounding it off as well. I'm looking at the time and knowing.
Yeah.
What would you say is the thing that really drives you to do all that?
Yeah, great question. I think I'm one of those guys that I either do it or I don't, if that makes sense. There's no sort of half measures. So I took up cycling about 3 years ago, and a couple of my friends said, should we do a long bike ride? I said, yeah, well, let's do Land's End to John O'Groats. And we just did it, and we did it in 13 days. I think it's probably the fear of waking up one day and nobody wants to take a courses with me, and my business will come to a halt. So it's I think it's 2 things. I think it's the fear that I'll be a failure, and that my business will come to a halt. And I think the second thing is that I think I'm either in or out, if that makes sense. I can't really do anything half measures. So I remember that during the summer, we did this sponsored walk. We walked the 3 Yorkshire peaks in a day. And there was a T-shirt out there which says, if you did it under 12 hours, you got this T-shirt, and that was me. So I had to do it under 12 hours. There was, and that was it. Well, my wife was happy just to walk it out. No, I want to do it under 12, and we did it. So I think it's with me. It's either I'm in or I'm out. If that makes sense. I can't do anything half measures really. if I go out for a bike ride at the weekend, I'd like to see if I can do it a little bit quicker than I did the previous week. And that's probably my makeup, really.
Yeah, okay. And kind of in the same vein, you know what we always talk about, I always say at the start of my interviews, we're all about trying to make an impact through entrepreneurship. And what would you say is the impact that you're trying to make in the world? So not necessarily just, you know, to from a business perspective, but just in general, what would you say? Almost what would you like a legacy to be?
Um, yeah, some really good questions here. I think what drives me is the making of making a difference.
Mm,
Um, um, for me in particular, we have when dentists come back to me and say, um, you know, I've done all the courses, I've bought all the kit, but I've never been able to fulfill my full potential. I've never been able to
mm,
get patients to, or as many patients as I wanted to take up my my treatment. But your course has enabled me to do that now. So I'm now delivering more teeth straightenings. I'm now doing more implants. I'm now doing more whitening cases. Now,
mm,
what really, what I mean, obviously the money helps, but
mm,
what really excites me is when a dentist is enabling them to deliver this treatment and actually change a patient's life.
mm,
Because the patients come because of lack of confidence. They become that they want a change in their lives,
mm,
and I'm now helping dentists fulfill this and change their patients' lives.
mm,
So you know, and my courses are enabling them to do that. So
mm,
that's really what drives me.
mm,
You know, we had a practice managers coaching course, and a lady reported, one of the practice managers reported the fact that she's used some delegation skills and
mm,
it's saving her about 30 minutes a day. And now her team members more performing a job that she didn't think she could do. And she's doing a really good. So I'm making a difference, not just to the practice manager's lives, but to the person who she's developed these new skills with a team member. So it
mm,
goes down the ladder. So that's really what
mm,
inspires me. And so if people could say, you know, if at my funeral, if people could say, you know, he's a great guy, but he really made a difference to
mm,
my career, enabling me to do dentistry that I couldn't do before, then
mm.
that's what my legacy. That's what I'd like people to say about me, and that would I feel would um, um, you know, and hopefully my legacy will carry on when I'm not doing this anymore. That's what my goal is now, is to try and build something that can carry on without me,
Mm.
or people can start doing this just as good as me. So that's what my legacy is now.
Yeah, amazing. And you know, if you're still here, you still probably you've got many more years inside of you, but you've already got you know an amazing name, an amazing reputation, you know, in the industry, which is absolutely amazing, and which is something that I would actually say, like you know, as a marketer, you know, I really appreciate the work that people like you do, where you actually give a good name to business and to entrepreneurship, and a good name to sales and marketing, because there's a lot of people that have gone out there and really tarnished the name of, you know, sales and marketing, and you actually give it a really good name. People have, you know, amazing things to say about you, which is amazing. And at the moment, just to round it off, Ashley, what are you offering to dentists that, you know, that they could come to you for? What's like kind of, even if it's like the main thing at the moment, and how can they find you?
Okay, so the well, first of all, you can find me on my website, which is www.ashleylatter.com. That's ASHLEY, and Latter, that's LATTER.com. And we produce a newsletter once a week, a lunch and learn video, So even if you are a dentist listening to this, please sign on for that, because it's full of tips. And it's a great way of building a relationship with me. If you're not a dentist and you sign on for that anyway, because you'll see how I market myself to dentists, and you can copy, and I'm sure you'll work well in the whatever industries that you operate in as well. But the main thing that we're offering our clients now is they're getting the chance to work with us for like a year. So we have both a success club for dentists and practices. So a dentist can basically take 3 of our courses spread over an 18-month period, where they can take my ethical selling course, they can come back and take a speaking and confidence course, and then they can come back and take my advanced masterclass ethical sales, and they can spread it over 18 months, monthly payments, and they get one of the courses for free, and they get some online courses for free as well. So that's really, really working really well, and we get a chance to work with dentists over like an 18-month, 2-year period, which is just fantastic. That's the main thing that we love doing the most. And we offer that to practices as well. We offer 5 where practices can again work with us for 12, 18 months. All their teams can take 5 of our open courses, and we can really make a difference to a practice and change how the whole practice runs by changing and working with a whole team. So that's working really, really well. So our 2 success clubs, the Practice Success Club and the Dental Success Club, and all that information is on our website. And so they are the things that we're working hard on now, and we're recruiting dentists. And we hopefully will be starting all our courses May onwards. And before that, we're doing some online stuff anyway to keep them going.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Ashley. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We will put all the details to those links below in YouTube and wherever else this is going to be. Ashley, really, really appreciate you taking.
You're welcome.
To do this.
You've been a great interview. You've asked some really, really good questions. So well done. You've really stretched me today. So well done. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And thank you everyone for watching. So please do remember to follow Ashley Latta, and also please remember to subscribe to the channel if you like this content.